Welcome to Inline and Online Payment, where we'll introduce you to how to process customer payments both in person and online. In this module, we'll take a closer look at what inline and online payments is, how to process desktop and tablet payments, and how to assist customers with online payments. And payment processing. Address a couple of key or create online payments. Before we dive into how to process payments or create online payments, it's important to address a couple. Before we dive into how to process payments or create online payments, it's important to address a couple of key terms related to inline and online payment processing. First, when you hear desktop in this module, know that we are referring to the Xtime schedule interface. When you hear tablet in this module, know that we are referring to the Xtime Engage app. And when you hear online in this module, know that we are referring to an internet browser. So what exactly does inline and online payment do, and why should your dealership use the platform? Xtime's inline and online payment gives you a platform to process customer payments. Today's customer is all about convenience. The convenience of paying either in the service lane or online before vehicle pickup will help to streamline both the payment and vehicle pickup process, leading to happier customers. Inline payments are made at your dealership, where you assist the customer by processing their payment using a desktop computer or mobile device. Anyone at the dealership who has access to Xtime can process a payment for the customer. Online payments, on the other hand, occur when the customer makes their payment through a secure microsite. This option allows customers to pay online in advance of picking up their vehicle, making the vehicle pickup process faster and more efficient for the customer. Whether the payment is made at the dealership or online in advance of pickup, you and your customers can be assured of the secure payment transaction. Card information is never saved to the device or desktop. The information is collected on a per-transaction basis only. Perhaps the biggest benefit of inline and online payments, though, is time. Again, this platform will allow anyone at the dealership who has access to Xtime to process the customer's payment. That means that even if the cashier is busy, the customer can still check out with anyone at the dealership, saving time and adding convenience for the customer. Let's begin by taking a closer look at processing inline payments. Here on the workbook, we see paid indicators. These will display if a payment has been processed either inline or online. To process an inline payment, we'll start by expanding the appointment card and clicking the person profile here toward the bottom of the appointment card. The Customer 360 will display. Here you will select Visits, found on the left-hand side of the screen, and choose today's date. Then you'll select the Payment tab. On the Payment tab, we'll enter the service total or total amount due here in the Service Total field and click Submit. We can send a copy of the invoice to the customer by email and or text message by placing a check mark here in the boxes next to email and text message. To accept an inline payment, enter the card number, expiration date, and CVV and the corresponding required fields. Once all required fields are populated, click Process Transaction. When the transaction is processed, a confirmation that the payment was received will display. At this point, you can either print the receipt for the customer, or you can send an electronic copy of the receipt by email and or text message. And again, once the payment has been processed, the desktop will update with a paid stamp, as we see here in our example. Now it's your turn to practice what we just covered. The service on Jim Grayson's vehicle is complete, and he's ready to check out. Where would you click to get started in processing Jim's payment? In the Customer 360, where would you go to process Jim's payment? Where do you enter the total amount due? Now that the service total is populated, What needs to be populated next in order to process the payment? You should now be able to process an inlane payment using Xtime Schedule. Now let's direct our attention to processing a payment in the service drive using a tablet. Using Engage 8, the process is similar to a desktop payment, except the payment is processed through an app on your tablet. You'll begin, just like the desktop, by opening the appointment card. Notice the Delivery tab here on the right-hand side of the screen. You will touch this tab to process the inlane payment using Xtime Engage. On the Delivery screen, we'll need to select the Payment tab. And just like processing a payment on the desktop, we'll need to enter the service total or total amount due, after which we have the option to pay now or pay online, which would send an online payment request to the customer by email or text message. Since in this example we are making a payment with the customer present, we'll select Pay Now. On the payment screen, we'll complete the required fields, just like we did on the desktop, and enter the billing information. Lastly, we'll touch Submit here on the right-hand side of the screen to submit the payment. Now let's pause to answer a couple quick questions about processing inlane payments using a tablet. Which tab within Xtime Engage will you select in order to process a payment using a tablet? Which of the following information is required when processing a payment using a tablet? True or false? There is no way to provide the customer with a receipt or invoice of the transaction when a payment is processed using the tablet. Now let's look at how online payments are processed. Similar to desktop and tablet payments, online payments can be easily sent to the customer. When using the desktop, open the appointment card and select the person profile to open the Customer 360. On the Payment tab, enter the total amount due in the service total field and click Submit. Then, place a checkmark in the email and or text message fields and click Send Request. When using a tablet, access Payment on the Delivery tab. Enter the total amount due in the service total field, then touch Pay Online. Again, select Email and or text message, then touch Send Payment Request. The customer will receive a link to a secure microsite. They can pay online, completing the required payment fields. And again, once they have paid, a paid stamp will display on the workbook. This module is now complete. You should now be able to process customer payments using Xtime Schedule and Xtime Engage.